What is up, all my dorks, nerds, geeks, and gamers? It's your host, Ghost here, joined with,
QI 43.
and you are watching another episode. This is the third episode of the Dorks and Movie Minute, where we were still watching WandaVision. We are on episode 4 now. We finally are outside of the bubble. This whole episode, we probably only get maybe 5 minutes of Wanda and Vision actually in the episode, which I think is an awesome change of pace, considering we've been left out of the loop the last 3 episodes, kind of not knowing what's going on and kind of just taking whatever they throw at us. Um, but we did get a lot of revelations this episode. Monica got shot out of the bubble, but then it flashed back to how she actually got into the bubble.
Yep.
We open up
Basically,
with oh
how
yeah, before we start all this, sorry, spoilers, guys, because this is going to be full of all spoilers. I don't think I warned you guys in episode 2, but this one will have spoilers, so just saying it right now. All right, but we start the episode off with the snap. This is the snap that Hulk did that brought everybody back.
yeah, dude, that was a crazy introduction. I was like, hold on, we're in the snap. This is
It was
the
awesome,
blip,
dude.
the blip.
Yes, the blip. Yep.
I'm like, this is amazing.
It was nuts.
And then,
but to see the chaos and like how everything was like.
yeah, too,
Everything
she came back
nuts.
and she was like, "Where's my mom?" And her mom's dead.
Yeah. Yes, her mom was dead.
And
Which,
she was like, "Wait, she said it was like 2 years ago, whatever it was."
3 years, 3 years ago, but she came back 5 years later, so it was only 2 years from when she came back. So yes, which ties into like it's crazy how far back they went with these cuts, because like even if you go back and watch Endgame, Carol Danvers has short hair that matches Photon's hairstyle in that last picture she took, and I was like, well, yeah, because she would have just recently died. Like that would have been her honor hairstyle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Respecting Photon, and I was like, that's so cool that they even did that all the way back in Endgame to like tie all this together. So that's one thing that happened. We start off the snap. She goes back to work for Sword, which we find out is they're observing weapons and not worlds. So that's the only difference between that and the comics. Which
Sword
would make
Sword's created by her mom, by Monica Rambeau's
yes, by Monica Rambeau.
So Monica Rambeau is super important in case.
Yes. So now
just in case no one's not aware or who doesn't know, she's super
yes.
important.
Now we know basically the Mount Rushmore of Marvel consists of the two women, Peggy Carter and Monica Rambeau, creator of S.H.I.E.L.D., creator of Sword.
Yep.
So those two
badass family.
They're those two are on there. We got that. We got introduced to the head of Sword, who this guy I don't trust for a second. I did not like his demeanor.
No.
I did not like.
As soon as he came into the picture, I was like, not good vibes coming from this guy.
Yeah, I did not like him at all. Like,
and I think Monica picked up on it too. I think she was kind of like, oh yeah, okay.
Yes, I agree. But see, I couldn't tell if she already had that animosity towards him from the past, because they kind of grew up together, or if this was fresh animosity. So I couldn't pick off which one.
Like when they first started like talking all that, he hits like, yeah, basically like out of world stuff's happening. She's like, oh yeah, it's crazy, like I actually know. Yeah, because she knew about Skrulls when she was a child.
Yeah. Her mom created swords.
She knows
knew
Samuel Jackson. She knows
already
for the past.
Yep.
She
created Captain Marvel's suit, gave her colors,
and yeah. So and I think that's what it is. So there's definitely some tension, animosity, between
them two.
Yeah.
And see, well, there was one other scene that threw me off. Okay, we'll talk about that when we get there with him, but we'll come back to him. So we'll put a bookmark on Tyler, whatever his last name is.
I
remember his first name was me. But after that, we go to the actual town of Westview, where we meet what's his name, the FBI agent, where he does the card trick from Ant-Man. Yes, Agent Wu. Yes.
Yeah, Agent Wu.
And he did the card trick from Ant-Man, which is awesome character development to show that he finally learned that trick, that he took the time out.
I know
that trick.
Just give me 1 second. I was so excited for this episode, after I watched it, was the depth of screen time they gave to small characters in the movies
Yes.
to really build them up. Like Kat Dennings' character, her,
Yes.
she was with Thor,
Darcy.
and
Yep.
and they build her, and then they have Adrian Wu. He's building. I'm like, I like the where they're going.
I
So
agree. Yep.
I just
It's
wanted to throw that in there. I love that.
I agree as well. It's awesome. And well, and the thing that you also got to remember, guys, is that any of these characters can now show up in the movies as well. Do not forget that. This is not like this Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show where nobody shows up in the movies. These are now 100% in the MCU. Like, if they wanted to bring Agatha Hart into the next Doctor Strange movie, she can be in it, and it would make sense. Like, that's so don't forget that either. So we're in Westview now. We're told the town never existed by these two police officers, which is an eerie scene. I love the eeriness in this episode. Like there's some
Dude, it had a
moments.
Silent Hills feel
Yeah.
to it.
Yep.
When like if everyone watched the movie, it was when the woman, the mother, is in Silent Hill, dark universe, with like
Yep.
Pyramid Head and stuff.
When
And
the ashes are
then
falling.
Sean Bean, who's her husband in that movie,
Yep.
is walking with that officer through the town itself in modern day. That's the type of feel I got because it was still eerie. It was like,
Yeah. Yep.
wow, this does not feel okay.
It did. It was very
Even when
eerie.
because the officers, because there's Agent Wu and Monica Rambeau are there,
Yep.
and the officer's like, this don't exist. He was like,
Yep.
and they're like, well, where are you? They're like, what do you mean? He's like, it's like 3,000, 800 something people or
Population.
whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
And he was like, yeah. And they're like, well, where are you from? He's like, I'm from Eastview. And it's like,
Yes.
what the hell is
It's the
happening?
same.
And then they drive
And
off, and then there's just Agent Wu and Monica.
yeah.
They send the drone over, and then the
Yep.
drone they show is the helicopter that
Was in
Wanda
episode
finds,
2, I believe.
yeah,
Yes.
in her
Yep.
bush, and it had the color in it. And
Yep.
the thing is, like in her world, it
Reality.
it was like a toy car or a toy, helicopter from that time, and it was an actual drone from this day.
Yep.
Which I was like, oh, because I love the way they did in the episode too, where it was a flashback, but it was also a like present time also.
Hmm.
Like, it was a good flashback to show you of like what was happening through those first three episodes.
Yes, it
Because
was.
like I said,
Yes.
like in the previous episode, like I said in our last one, it felt like it was just long and kind of dragged out.
Yes.
This one hits you in the face immediately, and it
Yes,
didn't
and it
stop.
doesn't stop until it's
Like
done.
that whole episode, I was like, okay, this episode doesn't need to end because it's amazing.
Yep. It
And
was. It was.
that's where they're going now. And it's like that's the direction they're heading now. I was like, okay, so we're definitely climaxing. So I wonder how long we're gonna last for that for the episodes.
What? But okay, so now we're at Darcy. Darcy finally in the picture. She's with the other scientists of different like geological, nuclear physicists,
Yeah,
different
there's like
scientists.
there's like astronomers and there's
Yes.
anatomy and there's chemists
And
and
so
engineers. And,
I think this is the FBI and Sword teaming up to figure out what this is, and they built this base outside of the anomaly. Oh, we missed a spot. Sorry, we forgot a major part. Monica Rambeau walks up to this anomaly that's around the town,
oh,
and she starts poking at it, playing with it, trying to figure out what it is. She gets sucked in, and now that explains how she became a part of the show.
yeah,
So she's now in the town. They're trying to get her. They don't know what happened to her. All this. So then we're at Kat Dennings, Darcy. She's with these scientists. They make it to this base. She finds these radio waves, which there's a big hint here as well, that are from the Big Bang theory, or not the theory, but the Big Bang. They're from the time period of the Big Bang, which is very important because if these nuclear waves only appear when there's a huge catastrophic event like the Big Bang, what do you think's happening right now? Like she's winding up, is what's happening, and who knows what's going to happen there? But they
yeah,
use these waves. Yes, continue. Yeah, what were you going to say?
yeah. No, because they use they pick up the radio waves on an old school TV, like
Yes.
knob on the TV,
Yeah, it's like
and
1940s or something like that.
literally when they're looking at TV, it's like you're watching a I Love Lucy episode. Like that's the way
Yes.
you're seeing it from. They're seeing it from the TV,
Yep.
and then they even show the commercial, which was insane.
Yep.
And I mean, and then they end up showing where she like they said something. Oh, when Wanda's doing dishes, she was like, I think they do it once an episode, and they
Yeah,
were
yep.
saying she has a radio next to her in the kitchen, and they're saying we may be able to link up with the sound waves on this frequency and get a message through, and then that's when it shows you Woo on it saying, Wanda,
Yep.
can you hear me? Who's doing this
Yep.
to you through the radio when she's at that party? That
Talking to
yeah,
Dottie. Yes.
all those like
For the
boo that
children.
yeah,
Yes.
and that shows you that, but then it also shows you Marco Rambo, and it's like, oh, now you know, like she's not from her mind, this
Yes.
universe
Yep.
that's being created.
Now,
She's not a part of it.
before you leave that point, though, I got to point out something. When they were watching, okay, first off, that I got to point out is it's very fascinating to know that Shield, Sword, and the FBI agents know exactly what we know. Like they see the show
Yeah,
exactly the way we see it, with edits
you
and
will feel
cuts and everything.
they make me feel like you are part of it. You're like, oh, okay,
Yes,
this is
you're
cool.
trying to
Like,
figure out what's happening just as much as they are. Like nobody knows
yeah,
anything. Like, and I love that. Like I've never seen that where the audience is a part of the show, like completely a part of the show. That's awesome. On top of that, oh God, I was going to say, okay, when they were watching it, they noticed when he was trying to speak in the radio that it was being edited. I don't think that's Wanda. I think that's someone above Wanda editing the program to where Sword and the FBI agents can't even see when she has doubts. You get what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, I know because I'm trying to save it because because for the end of the episode,
Yes,
like
yep.
when we get through the whole thing and then we could really start going. Because I mean, because
But let's just yes, but
yeah,
they
because this
acknowledge that someone
episode,
is editing the content. So that's all we know. There's someone editing the TV content
yeah,
that
because
Sword sees.
like when they talk about Monica Rambeau and she talks about Ultron, they hear that in the show. They're like, did she
Yes.
just
Yep.
say Ultron? And they're like, oh yeah, and they're like, yeah, she said Ultron. And then all of a sudden, you start seeing Wanda get pissed off
Yep.
and turn on her, and then they're watching the show, and then all of a sudden it cuts, and then Wanda's
And then
sitting there with
credits. Yeah.
Vision, and they're watching the show, and they're like, wait, what?
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, so something's happening.
Something's going on in this town. Um. Okay. So from there, we learn a little bit. They start identifying people in the town with real life people in the real world. And they start identifying them. The only ones that do not get identified are Agnes and Dottie. Dottie's husband. I mean not Dottie's husband, but Ralph, whoever Ralph is.
Yeah, and she's always bashing him
So those three
all the time.
characters have not been identified yet. Um, so we don't know when or if they will, but they haven't yet. Then we cut back to finally we get Wanda and Vision a little bit. Oh no, we cut back to Monica and Wanda from episode 3 when she shot her out of the bubble.
Yeah,
When she asked her about Ultron, you finally get to see Wanda turn a little bit to her dark side, shoots Monica out of the house, through the fence, through another house, through another fence, and then out of the bubble. Um, and then the thing that blew my mind the whole episode that scared the crap out of me. Like I'm not gonna lie, it literally
yeah. I
scared the
go
crap
for
out
it.
of me.
I'm ready.
Like
I know
I
what you're talking
jumped.
about. I know
Like
exactly what you're
as
talking
soon
about.
as Vision walked in the house and he had his straight dead face on with the hole in his head, I literally was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Whoa! What just happened?" And then I was like, "Oh my god! Like this is
see,
different."
see
Like
where you think someone's editing it, like where it was. I don't think it is. I think it's her. I think it's her reality starting to collapse.
it
Because
could
as you
be,
said,
yes.
because it said it's growing, and I think that's what it is. It's starting to break. She's trying.
She's
Because I
trying to
think
hold on to it.
she is literally because she is so powerful, and she's really starting to come in tune with it. That she, because like they said, this town don't exist. So she literally built a town somehow
Mhm.
and has embraced it in this shell that only she has access to, that they can only see from the frequencies and all that. Because after it shows Wanda and Vision, and then it goes back to being normal, and she's like, she's shaking. But then, there's Monica, and she's laying on the ground, and she's like, "It's all Wanda." That's when I was like,
Yeah.
So, dude, it's all her, dude. Her reality is all in this bubble now that
Hmm.
she's built, and with Monica coming in, and with that being, and now with her hitting Ultron and her brother and all that,
It,
she just fractured the dam, and it's just gonna start flooding out now.
I agree with
And
that statement.
so, and I'm excited. I'm excited because that's all that episode did. It hyped me up because I was like, oh, okay, we're definitely rolling into this next,
Actual
like
MCU
this next saga.
stuff.
We
Yes,
just got done with the Infinity Saga. We're really roll into the next saga.
I agree with that. Um, but one thing I do want to say, going back now, is we saw who the beekeeper was. It was just a sword agent who crawled through the sewers and whatever you go through her portal or whatever her shield that makes you into whatever reality she sees you as.
Yeah,
So he became a beekeeper. I don't know. We still don't know what happened to him. He could be dead. Like we still don't know what happened to
yeah,
that guy.
yeah. Because
Um,
Monica got pushed out, but we haven't. They haven't hint anything that happened to him.
yeah, we don't know. So maybe he's Ralph. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe she kept him and made him a citizen.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of some of the people because now that hints that when Agnes and the neighbor was talking, he was cutting the hedge and all that.
Yeah,
You
not the
know,
hedge, but the brick wall. He was like,
yeah,
mm.
yeah. Like I think she has like forced him into it because
I
and
have
so,
a.
like because Monica was like dressed like as in today sword
Mhm.
government type style.
Yes, yep,
When she got sucked into reality, dude, her clothes were changed and all that.
yeah. And then
So
when she got out, her clothes were still that style.
so I'm thinking, yeah, because when you mentioned the beekeeper, that's who we saw it was. When he finally trances it, because they lower him down like in a sewer or whatever, and that's how he gets in.
Hmm.
When he goes through, they had a hook attached to him, and then when he crosses
Yes.
over that frequency line,
Yep.
it turned into a jump rope.
Yep.
But they still had the actual line attached, and then they dragged it through, and the rope was still in
Real.
her
Yeah, it
hand.
was a real thing.
And
Yep.
on our side of the line, but it kind of
Yes.
fades for a second. I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
this is crazy." So, yeah, I'm excited, dude.
See,
They're pulling it off.
I have a crazier theory. What if Westview isn't a town, but a cemetery, and everyone we've seen is a dead, deceased person in the MCU, including Vision? That's where his body was buried, and this is her kind of bringing him up.
Maybe like somehow. Oh, okay, yeah, no, I get it.
And I think that Dottie is Mephisto because it's the scene where she's talking to Dottie that gets edited. And if Mephisto's kind of putting seeds in Wanda's head and controlling everything, he's going to edit those scenes out where she looks weak. So that way he has control of everything. On top of that, um, oh, I'm going to lose my train of thought now. Dang it.
You're with the Dottie and Mephisto
Um,
seeds.
oh, but I think that's going to tie into the end of the series where he's gonna make Wanda the final deal where, hey, you want Vision and your twins to make it in real life, then I can do that for you, but you're mine to control. And I think Wanda's gonna take that deal.
Yeah, because she has a true soulmate love for Vision.
Yeah.
So
So that's what I think how she's gonna be the bad guy. And also I've been hearing rumors that people have been hearing that there's a secret 10th episode of WandaVision they haven't announced that will have Doctor Strange and Spider-Man in it to be the final connective episode of it all. So
they're
if that
finally doing
happens,
it,
dude,
dude. They're making the Spideyverse, the multiverse, all the dimensions. They're finally putting. They're actually the Wanda. They're using WandaVision as that launching platform, and they're about to launch that their whole. Now their whole
their whole phase four,
cinematic
five,
galactic
six.
universe
Yep.
too. So
All right. So that this was actually a long one, guys. I'm sorry it was so long, but I mean a lot happened that episode, like a ton. But thanks for sitting through it with us.
and if you didn't mind the spoilers and you haven't watched the episode, definitely go back and watch it because it's amazing.
Yes, check it out. I'm hyped for it. In the next episode, we'll be here next week to talk about that one as well. Um, Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. Leave your comments down below what you thought of the episode or any moments we missed or we should have mentioned. We'll probably mention them in the next video if you leave a comment. Um, and until next time, guys, keep it right here on Dorkston. I've been your host, Ghost, joined with.
Like you at 43.
And we hope you guys have an awesome evening. Adios.
See ya.